All right, thank y'all. Good morning. It's great to be with you today at Mississippi's giant house party. I've attended for many years, and I've always enjoyed the political speeches and the visiting that goes along with it. It are our traditions, like the Neshoba County Fair, that make our state one of the best places in this country to work, worship, and raise a family. But this is my first time to actually speak at the fair. I've had a lot of politicians give me a lot of advice. A lot of them have said, Jason, it's the most important speech that you will give on an annual basis. But let me put y'all at ease for just a minute. Y'all relax. There's been a lot of talk this week, yesterday and today, about futures and who's going to run for what and jockeying and maybe even a few jabs thrown. But I want to put y'all at ease at those speeches hinting about our next gubernatorial race. I, nor the next guy that's going to speak after me, neither one of us will be announcing that we're running for governor in 2027. You don't need me to tell you, though, that we have this momentous presidential election that is quickly approaching, where it really does seem like the stakes have never been higher. And for a conservative with any common sense, the only choice is Donald Trump to be our next president. That much is abundantly clear. But let me go to a lighter note for a minute. I recently was reading an article about some contested congressional races in some of our sister southern states, and it linked me to an article about a heated political race that went on right here in Mississippi over 100 years ago. A gentleman by the name of Private John Allen. He was a Confederate soldier. He was born in Tishomingo County, and after the war, he came home to North Mississippi, worked hard, and got elected to the U.S. Congress from Mississippi. He served 8 terms from 1885 to 1901. And in one of his more heated re-election campaigns, he was being challenged by a gentleman by the name of Mr. W.B. Walker. And it was at a heated political forum much like this, and both candidates were on the stage, and they were going at it. And the challenger, W.B. Walker, proclaimed to the crowd, "Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to notice my opponent, Mr. Allen. Just look at him sitting over there. He's big and fat. Why, he's literally gotten pregnant on the people's money. He's been in Congress so long." To which Congressman Private John Allen, being quick-witted and patting his big fat stomach, said, "This is true. And when I am in labor and delivered of this child, if it's a girl, I will name it Martha Washington. And if it's a boy, I will name it George Washington. And if it's a jackass, I will name it W.B. Walker." That's as close to pointed politics as y'all will get from me today. Before I talk about some of our achievements and goals in the Mississippi House of Representatives, I want to acknowledge some folks that have helped me get to this stage. First of all, I want to introduce my bride of 27 years, Jolynn. Jolynn has sacrificed. She has sacrificed and supported me and our family throughout my tenure in public service, and she continues to be the foundation for our success. I also want to acknowledge my 3 children, Sarah Burden, John, and Carlin. And they certainly didn't sign up for this, but they've been good sports, and I appreciate their love and support throughout my time in elected office. I want to thank my staff who's with me here today. There's no roadmap for running a speaker's office at the Capitol. They help me keep the trains on time, and they do their best to keep me straight and focused. I also want to recognize and thank one of my House Appropriations chairmen who's here behind me this morning. He's also your president of the Neshoba County Fair Association, Representative Scott Bounds right here. Y'all congratulate him on another great fair. I want to thank y'all for the invitation to speak today, and I want to thank you for the warm welcome you've given me, all these candidates, and certainly all my Republican brothers and sisters who have spoke before me today. Another group I need to express my sincere appreciation to, though, are my colleagues in the House of Representatives. With their unanimous vote of support, I'm proud to serve as the 62nd Speaker of the Mississippi House of Representatives. When I took the oath of office in January and addressed the House for the first time as Speaker, I reminded each member that we do face many challenges to improve Mississippi, but the opportunities that are afforded us are plentiful. I reminded my Republican House colleagues of this, who now hold 79 of the 122 seats in the House. To whom much is given, much will be expected. We agreed to spend the vast majority of our time and attention on issues and policy that actually move the needle forward for our state. From throwing out the antiquated education funding formula known as MAEP and replacing it with a formula that funds students and not systems, to restoring the people's right to the ballot initiative, to having tough but necessary conversations about our health care delivery in Mississippi. The House of Representatives' actions are proof that we are willing to kick the hornet's nest if that's what needs doing. Thank you. In our first month this session, you saw 2 major economic development projects announced, and in 2 fast special sessions, your legislature acted swiftly to ensure those projects were finalized and in the best interest of every Mississippi taxpayer. I commend Governor Reeves for his leadership and his team in attracting these companies to Mississippi and for putting Mississippi's best foot forward as the nation and the world have begun to sit up and finally take notice that Mississippi is a player in today's global economy. This type of activity is proof that Mississippi truly has momentum and we are open for business. We intend to keep our foot on the gas. You've heard several speeches yesterday and today, and I'm sure you're going to hear one more after me that is chock full of conservative buzzwords. I'm not great at those type of deliveries, but I'll tell you this. In the House of Representatives, we advance policy solutions and not sound bites, transformational ideas and not tweets. And in the House, we actually enact conservative, common sense policies and not campaign pushcard material. And that's the way we'll conduct our business in the future. We are fortunate to have some great chairmen serving in the House in our chamber, and I'm proud of their work. Specifically, I want to mention a couple of guys, Chairman Rob Robertson and Vice Chairman Kent McCarty of our Education Committee. They helped deliver an education funding formula for the people of Mississippi that is now clear, dependable, and more tailored to the specific needs of each individual Mississippi student, and it rewards students for choosing alternative curriculums such as career tech. We are finally funding students and not systems. We know, thank you. We know that success is measured by outcomes and not inputs. The archaic MAEP Democrat-constructed formula, which no one ever understood, was only fully funded twice in its 25-year existence. The Mississippi Department of Wildlife, Fisheries, and Parks has more reported sightings of Bigfoot in our state than we had years of full funding under the MAEP formula. We've moved on, and I'm here to tell you, we no longer have a money issue anymore in our K-12 education system. We may have a management and an accountability issue, and we will continue to work on those in the House. But we do have one other glaring problem in our K-12 system, and that's a consumer issue. And by consumer, I mean parents. I mean taxpayers. This next session, you will see the Mississippi House of Representatives come forward with meaningful solutions that give parents real choices and real options when it comes to their child's education. It's what Mississippi parents and children deserve, and it's what taxpayers are now demanding. Speaking of taxpayer dollars, many of you probably saw the announcement right after session of several select committees that we formed in the House. One of those is a committee charged with examining and reforming our tax code in Mississippi. The House is looking for ways to actually cut taxes, to actually reward work, not tax it. This select committee, which Chairman Bounds is a co-chair of that committee, will look at our grocery tax as well and figure out a path forward to at least cut it in half and reduce the burden on Mississippians when they go through the checkout line in your grocery store. And yes, let me add to that. We want to accelerate our pathway to finally eliminating the personal income tax in Mississippi. We have a lieutenant governor who's on record wanting to do away with the grocery tax, and we have a governor who is wholeheartedly for eliminating the personal income tax. In the House, we intend to bring those two things together and work for the people of Mississippi to actually make it happen in the very near future. Now, I want to use my final minutes to talk about something that may make some of you uncomfortable. I've had uncomfortable conversations about it, but our willingness to tackle tough issues is what sets the House apart, and that is this: Mississippi's approach to health care delivery in our state. For too long, for political reasons or for self-interest, politicians have refused to engage in meaningful debate to address problems in our health care system, and specifically as it relates to rural health care and the delivery of it for my people, for your people. I'll admit to you, I was one of those who was willing to look the other way for a long time. But when our hospitals and our doctors, our nurse practitioners, and Mississippi business owners, both large and small, our business trade associations, the Mississippi Economic Council, the state's Chamber of Commerce, no less, the Mississippi Manufacturers Association, and yes, Republican primary voters, when they began to demand solutions to provide access to health care for working Mississippians, we began to listen. And we're not afraid to listen. And we're not afraid to have meaningful conversations. The House remains committed to open-minded discussions to bolster a healthy workforce and a prosperous Mississippi in a common sense and, yes, conservative way. The problem isn't going anywhere, and it certainly won't be solved with Facebook posts or press releases. We are excited about the possibilities that a Trump administration could afford us here in this state in the healthcare space as we approach November, and we will look forward to that. These next months, they will be critical as we prepare for the 2025 legislative session. We won't rest on our past few accomplishments. We will draw on them. And if we've had any success in our first session, it's because of the men and women scattered around this room and this pavilion today who you have sent to the Mississippi House of Representatives. This will surprise you. We actually work together well, we communicate well, and we respect each other, even when we really disagree. All traits noticeably absent in your nation's capital in Washington, D.C. We intend to keep it that way. We may have different perspectives, but we share a love of Mississippi and her people, and we will work with anyone, it's true, but yes, we will defend our core conservative values. I commit to everyone here in closing, the House will keep an open mind, think outside the box, and continue to not shy away from a little disarray if it leads to a worthwhile policy for all Mississippians. We intend to further our pursuit of bold initiatives as we continue to make Mississippi the very best it can be, the best place in the nation to work, worship, and raise a family. Thank you, and may God continue to bless the great state of Mississippi. Thank you all. Thank you.